Week 1 of the preseason is in the books, and it's time to start getting our list together to get our draft. So we're going to talk about top 20 running backs this week. So hopefully you're pumped. I am. I love talking about running backs. Why? Because Jahmyr Gibbs is the best running back out there. Do I think he's number 1 overall? We'll see. All right, like we talked about last year, when I'm coming up with my list, I'm thinking about potential and opportunity. Now, I do not try to bring in injury thought processes. I'm assuming that everyone's going to get 16, 17 games. So I'm kind of keeping them all on an equal level, but I'm going to throw in some injuries this time because there are some people out there who have some real issues and they need to be discussed, and you need to consider these before you're even drafting. All right, let's jump right into it. The number 1 running back from last year was Jahmyr Gibbs. I do not have him as number 1 overall this year, and we'll talk about why. But my number 1 overall pick for running back is Bijan Robinson. Now, I love Robinson. He's on a team with a lot of potential. They give him the ball, so plenty of opportunity. They have an easy strength of schedule. There is literally no one behind him. Algier, I forgot who that guy is. I mean, honestly, there is nobody behind him. So he's going to get the rock. He's going to get over 300 carries just like he did last year. He's going to see 72, maybe even 80 targets this year. I think his receiving touchdown numbers are going to increase, which is why he's going to overtake as number 1. His easy schedule combined with the fact that there's no one behind him and the guy is a beast and Atlanta's only going to get better makes him the number 1 overall guy. At number 2, this is where I have Jahmyr Gibbs. And this is a tough one because a lot of people are going to argue that Saquon Barkley, last year's number 2, should be number 2 or even number 1. Now, Gibbs was number 1 last year. Running backs don't repeat year to year. That's an anomaly. So to think that Gibbs is going to be number 1 again this year, that's a stretch. Plus, he had 20 total touchdowns last year. That is really hard to repeat. So I think he falls back a couple of touchdowns this year. That plus literally the toughest schedule out there. I mean, a bottom 5 schedule for running back. I mean, they have to go away at every single top team this year. It's just pathetic. The NFC North is just awful as far as schedule is concerned. You could really tell that the NFL didn't want the Lions or anyone else from the NFC North even getting close to the NFC Championship game. They just made it almost impossible. I digress. Whatever. But Gibbs is number 2. Too much opportunity. Yes, Montgomery is still there, but even with Montgomery there, he had 20 total touchdowns, almost 2,000 total yards. The guy's a beast. He's awesome. Draft with confidence. Number 3, I have Barkley for all the reasons that you would think. 2,000-yard rusher. He's got a tougher schedule. Is Hurts going to throw the ball more because now that they've got a ring, he's like, all right, I don't have to feed it to this dude. He got his 2,000 yards. You got yours. I want to get mine. Contract year coming up. I want my money. Barkley, still going to be outstanding. Again, no one really behind him. He's got a tough schedule, though, and he's got a new offensive coordinator. So that's going to drop him down to 3, I think, for me overall. Still a very solid pick in the first round. The 4th overall guy I have is Derrick Henry. Now, everyone's like, what about Janty? I don't understand. He's coming 4th off the board, and he's in the first round. Janty is a rookie. He doesn't know how to pick up solid pass pro. He is on the Raiders. Everyone is completely overhyping this kid. I talked about him in the rookie segment, but Janty is not going to give you top 10 running back numbers this year. Yes, he has plenty of opportunity and potential. It's still the Raiders. So where do I look? I look at Derrick Henry. What did he do last year? And the guy's like 31 years old. He averaged 5.9 yards a carry on 325 rushing attempts. In the history of the NFL, only 3 running backs have ever averaged 6 yards or more with over 300 carries in a season. My man, Barry Sanders, holds the mark at 6.1 in the NFL record books with over 300 carries in a season, 1997. Then you have OJ, Where's My Bronco Simpson at 6.0, and then Adrian Peterson at 6.0 back in the day. That's it. And then there's Derrick Henry at 5.9. This guy is a beast. His work ethic is amazing. He keeps himself in incredible health, and he plays on one of the best teams out there. And oh, by the way, their schedule is easy, and there's nobody behind him. If you don't think this guy isn't going to get another 300 carries, you're wrong. He's going to get 16, total touchdowns, at least. Yes, he doesn't catch a whole lot of balls. So if you're in a non-PPR league, and remember, we're talking PPR leagues here because most leagues are PPR. If you're in a non-PPR league, first of all, switch to a PPR league. Do the smart thing. Second of all, Derrick Henry is going to drop a little bit if you're in a non-PPR league. Otherwise, go get him. I mean, even if you're non-PPR and you pick him up with the 4th overall or as the 4th overall running back, that's still a steal. Moving on. In the 5th position, I have Jacobs. Now, I know in the 5th position, McCaffrey is the one coming off the board in the 1st round. We've talked about McCaffrey and his injuries. I really don't need to go there. I'm not touching him this year. Same thing with Janty. I'm going to let everyone else pick them in the 1st round, or I will pick someone else. But my number 5 overall running back is Jacobs. He's a 3-down workhorse back. He gets all the goal line carries. He has an easy strength of schedule. Last season, over 300 carries, 15 touchdowns, 1,300 yards rushing, 43 catches and a touchdown. He's pushing almost 1,800 yards total. There is no way that anyone is going to supplant that. No way. I don't care who they bring in. I'm like, oh, well, Brooks can do this. Oh, well, he can do this. No, Jacobs is still going to dominate. He's your number 5. At number 6, Bucky Irving. Now, I love Bucky last year. Everybody know I was hyping him up for good reason. He's a talented kid. What do we see or happened 2 days ago? White busted his groin. And then he went back into the game. And this is the interesting thing if you're watching the game, which I was live. I could see that he injured his groin when he ran out of bounds. His problem is he went back in there with the injury. You could see it. He had it. And he ran the next play. The reason why he did that is he's afraid of losing his roster spot. You can see it. If he's afraid of losing his roster spot, that means that my man, Bucky, is all over the number 1. So Bucky, number 6, opportunity, potential, totally there. I think he gets more carries. I think he catches the ball more. I think he gets more touchdowns. This should be a huge, huge year for Bucky. At number 7, I have Kyren Williams. Now, everyone's going to be like, oh, but Blake Corum, oh, but this, oh, but that. Yeah, they were saying the same thing last year. Here's a guy who is averaging 85% of the total snap count over the last 3 years for his team. And he's the only guy in the NFL who's done that. This guy plays every play. He is a 3-down back with the potential of 15 to 16 touchdowns. And oh, by the way, Cooper Kupp is gone. All right. So they're going to have to lean on Kyren even more. Blake Corum looked good in preseason, but that's preseason. And again, it's the Kyren Williams show. So I have him at number 7, no brainer. In the number 8 position, last year's number 10 back is Chase Brown. Now I'm a little bit worried about Chase Brown, a little bit worried about his health. I mean, he played 16 games last year, so I'm not like terribly worried. And Chase Brown, the big thing about Chase Brown is he gets a lot of touchdowns and he catches a lot of balls. So last year he had 11 touchdowns, caught 65, finished again as number 10. I think there's a lot of upside for him. There's really no backup at all this year. And he has all the opportunity and a super easy strength of schedule. I think this sets up for Chase Brown to crack the top 10 and finish number 8 this year. All right, at number 9, I have Devon Achane. Now, Achane is coming off pretty early. I mean, when you look at the draft board, he's coming off as the 6th overall running back. Correction, 7th overall running back. Of course, Janty and McCaffrey are ahead of him, which I haven't even gotten to yet. But he's coming off in the early of the 2nd round. And that's the right place for him. He has an easy schedule. I think Miami takes a little bit of a step back offensively, but you can't deny the fact that last year he caught the most balls as a running back, 78. Now he saw 2 less balls than Kamara, who's coming up here pretty soon, but he caught 78 for 6 touchdowns. That's where he does his biggest damage. He only saw 200 carries last year. Miami was hurting. They had to throw the ball a little bit more. I think if Miami can put it a little bit more together, he's ready for a top 10 finish. Again, I don't think he finishes, top 5 like he did last year. At number 10, I have James Cook. This is a dangerous pick because he's whining about his payday and he wants to get his. And yeah, he had a huge season last year. 16 touchdowns, over 1,000 yards. James Cook legitimately should get paid. There is no question. However, sitting out ain't going to help him. He's got an easy strength of schedule, same team, same playbook. He needs to get his butt back out there. And if he does, he's going to have a solid top 10 finish. The big worry here is obviously, is he going to extend this holdout through the entire preseason into the regular season? I don't think so. I think you can draft him with confidence because in the end, he knows he needs to perform to get paid. All right, that's your top 10. Let's take a quick pause here. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with my top 4. That's fine. I don't care if Gibbs is 4, if Henry's number 1, or if Barkley finishes 3 or 1. It doesn't really matter. If you get any one of those top 4 guys, you're going to dominate your league. Obviously, if one of them gets hurt, people get hurt. That's just the way it is. But you are going to dominate your league if you have one of those top 4 guys. And when you're looking at the first round, yeah, you have Jamar Chase as the number 1 overall. But if you want to go running back, I would get one of those 4 guys for sure. And then there's Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, and Neighbors. I think this year, a little bit of a tangent here. I think this year, if you have an early pick, is the year to go get a running back. Love Jamar Chase. The guy's a beast. He's going to be huge at the wide receiver position, but there is a significant drop off once you get past the top 5, 6 running backs in total points. And I mean huge. And yeah, you can make the argument that if Chase stays healthy, there is a big drop off in the wide receiver core. Yes, but I can put together a wide receiver core that can make up for that. There aren't a whole lot of running backs that I can make up for a Bijan Robinson, Barkley, or Gibbs, as last year most of you all find out. Sidebar over. Like I said, if I get any one of those top 4 guys, I am super happy. If I get anyone in 5 through 7, 5 through 8, I'm happy as well. 8, 9, and 10, yeah, they could go probably 3 or 4 slots down from there, but that's still a solid running back. Most of those guys you're going to pick up in the 2nd, 3rd round anyway, so you probably started with a wide receiver if that's what you're up against. Or you just put 2 of those top 10 running backs together, and now you have a huge team because you went 0 wide receiver. That is a strategy we'll talk about later. At number 11, I have Breece Hall. I struggled with this one a little bit, and I know he's coming off in the 3rd round, in the middle of the 3rd round, so his ranking is about where he's coming off as far as ADP is concerned. Breece Hall is on a team with Justin Fields. I'm not a Justin Fields fan. Again, he looks at his first read and then he runs. So unless Breece Hall is intentionally his first read or it's a running play directly to Breece Hall, this could be an issue for Breece Hall. I mean, he had Aaron Rodgers last year who was not stellar, as we know, got 76 targets, 57 catches. That's a lot of targets. So in a PPR league, that's the kind of guy you want. I think Fields might give them more opportunities at touchdowns, or at least he's going to lean on running backs more. I hope he does. But the bottom line is I think Breece Hall, he finishes about where his ADP is at number 11 overall. At number 12, I have Alvin Kamara. Now, I kind of wanted to push Alvin Kamara back into the top 10 again. New Orleans is just a train wreck this year, as everyone knows. But the fact of the matter is regardless if they're a train wreck like they were last year, he is the number 1 player. 89 targets, 68 catches. That's huge. Yeah, he went under 1,000 yards, only got 6 touchdowns on the ground. But if you're looking for a PPR monster, this is the guy. I mean, he still was in the top 10 last year, finished number 9. That is huge. And where are you going to find Kamara? Right now, you're going to find him late in the 4th round. That is huge. If you go 0 running back for the first 3 rounds, this is the guy you're going to target in the 4th round. So go get him. At number 13, I have Aaron Jones. Now, a lot of people are worried about Aaron Jones because, the Vikings went out and got Mason. I get it. There's a little bit of a concern there, but I still think he sees similar numbers to last year. I don't really see any kind of drop off as far as he's concerned. That combined with his, decent schedule, I think puts him in a position to be successful. Still has Justin Jefferson out there commanding a lot of the attention, and that gives him some open opportunities. And then Justin Jefferson, Addison, they're going to get him close to the goal line, and he's going to get his chances, right? I mean, last year, what did he do? He put up 5 touchdowns on the ground. Not a whole lot, 1,100 yards, but 62 targets, 51 catches. That puts him at a solid 13. That's a good guy to go get. All right, at number 14, I have Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard had a huge year last year. Over 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns, caught 41 balls for a really, really bad team. Now, I know it's Tennessee and they have a rookie quarterback. However, Tajay Spears is hurt. I think Tony Pollard continues to get the same numbers that he had last year, maybe even a little bit more, maybe an extra touchdown, maybe an extra 2 touchdowns, which would put him solidly in the conversation for a top 20, top 15 finish. And I have him at 14. At number 15, truth be told, this is not my favorite player, Jonathan Taylor. Now, Jonathan Taylor continuously gets himself in the top 20. So you have to put Jonathan Taylor in the top 20. And I have him at 15. The quarterback position in Indianapolis is a train wreck, just like it was last year. Last year, Jonathan Taylor had 11 touchdowns, 1,400 yards on the ground, and he caught 18 balls for another touchdown. That sounds like really, really good numbers, but he didn't look that good actually at all. If you dig deep into his schedule from last year, he got most of his touchdowns, 6 out of 11, in the last 3 weeks of the season. Now, if you had this guy riding the pine and then you pulled him out in the fantasy playoffs in the Super Bowl, congratulations. If you're in a best ball league and he was like not helping you out and then all of a sudden he won you a championship, congratulations. But you didn't even make it to the playoffs in a regular league because this guy couldn't get it done until the last 3 weeks of the season. You were thinking, oh man, if I were in the playoffs, I would have won it all. Well, that's the problem with Jonathan Taylor. He wasted all of that in the last 3 weeks of the season. And there's a reason for that. They were playing for nothing. They had nothing to lose. They basically just went out there and rode him until he couldn't handle it anymore. He missed 3 games last year. He misses games every year. And that's a problem with Jonathan Taylor. Even though he misses games, he can still finish in the top 20. So even though I have him ranked at 15, if he finishes 17, 18, 19, it wouldn't surprise me. But he's still going to be in the top 20. At number 16, here's where I have CMC. Everyone's thinking, well, why are we even going to talk about Christian McCaffrey? Because Christian McCaffrey is going to play half a season if he's lucky. His injuries are catastrophic. There's no other way to put it. If you draft him in the first round, you are going to be disappointed just like you were last year. This kid is a beast. He's put his entire body through hell. But unfortunately, there's just no coming back from this. I hope and pray for the guy. I want the best for him. He seems like a really great dude. In the end, the injuries have caught up with this young man, and I just don't see it happening this year. If you draft him, you absolutely have to get Guerrero as a handcuff. I mean, that has to be a priority because I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm targeting Guerrero as soon as I can get him because when McCaffrey goes down, and he will, unfortunately, Guerrero's going to get 20, 25 touches this game. All right, at number 17, this is where I have Janty. Yep, I throw him on my way. I want to hear all the hate mail. Come on, I want to hear it all because, I mean, seriously, I deserve it. No, I don't. Absolutely not. He's a rookie. He's not going to be the number 4 overall running back. I'm not going to take him in the first round. It's like I'm not going to take Travis Kelce in the first round. Anybody do that in the last couple of years? Yeah, how did that work out for you? Yeah, I'm telling you right now, Janty, don't take him in the first round. Let him go. I would rather have Henry 101 days out of 100 days. Yeah, those numbers don't add up. The reason is because it's so crazy to draft Janty in the first round. I'm telling you, it's a huge mistake. I don't care how big his arms are. I don't care. I know he's on the Raiders. I know he's probably going to get 300 carries. But if the Raiders are always behind and their schedule isn't that great, by the way, if they're always behind, they're not going to be running to this kid. I mean, yeah, he's awesome and all, but Geno Smith is going to throw the ball to Bowers. He's going to throw it to Myers. He's going to move the ball. Do I think Janty's going to have a good season? Yeah, I do. I have him at 17. That's not a terrible place to be. But for a rookie, he needs to be able to protect the quarterback. There's nobody behind Geno right now. And pass pro is very important. So if he doesn't improve in that case, he's not going to get as many touches as we think. He's not going to push 300 touches. I don't care what anyone thinks. It's not going to happen. I'm thinking 250 touches, which puts him at a solid top 20. And I have him at 17. At 18, I have Chuba Hubbard. I call him Chuba, but I do that, with reverence, okay? It's Chuba. I got it. I like Chuba, and no disrespect. I think he's awesome. He's playing for Carolina. Carolina, young, Ted. I mean, there's some talent there, but Chuba. I know I don't want the hate mail. I'm sorry, but I say that with reverence. I'm just saying, okay? But Chuba's in trouble. They went out and got Rico Dowdle. Don't ask me why. I have no idea. Gets over 1,000 yards with Dallas. Are they looking at it as a timeshare? Do they really think he's going to supplant him? I think that Chuba, big contract, is still the starter. I see this as a 2/3, 1/3 kind of timeshare, which hurts him. Last year, it was all him. So I still think he finishes in the top 20. I mean, he's a great running back, but this Dowdle thing, it really impacts his opportunities to run the ball. And I hope they don't get into a timeshare where Dowdle comes in to get the goal line touches and take all the touchdowns away from Chuba. I hope that doesn't happen. I mean, they paid Hubbard a lot more than Dowdle, but I mean, that still remains to be seen. At number 19, I have James Conner. And James Conner, he might be 50 years old. I don't really know. People treat him like that. But the bottom line is the guy pushes almost 5 yards a carry every season. Still went over 1,000 yards last year, played 16 games, so super healthy. He was targeted 55 times. Now, even he comes out and says, oh yeah, Benson, he deserves more playing time. I heard all that last year. And guess what? He still got like 280 touches. I don't really think that's going to change. Yeah, he might surrender a couple of touches to Benson, but every time I've seen Benson play, I don't see that burst of speed that, wow, this guy's electric, amazing. Benson's not going to see a whole lot of carries. Again, it's still going to be the James Conner show as far as I'm concerned. I don't think he's going to carry 250 times in the season. His carries might back off about 20. He might see like 10 less catches, but I mean, that's why I have him at a solid 19. I still think he's going to have a great season, and if Benson gets hurt, well, now here we go. James Conner, once again, with 300 touches. Okay, finally, at number 20, I have David Montgomery. And everyone, I know I can hear it right now. Everyone's freaking out like, no way. You can't, just because you're a Lions fan, you can't put them both in the top 20. Oh, yeah? I did the same thing last year, and they both finished in the top 20. Shocker. They were 1 and 18. And guess what? Last year, when everybody thought David Montgomery was going to be nowhere, what does he do? 12 touchdowns, 36 catches. Yeah, he only had 775 yards rushing, but who cares? When you put up 12 touchdowns, that puts you in the top 20. He finished right behind Mixon, who everyone was like, oh, he's having an amazing year. Dude, he was one behind Mixon, who, by the way, is hurt and probably not going to play, in which case, this is why he's at 20. It's pretty much a guarantee. I still think he gets 10 touchdowns. I really do. And if Detroit Lions' schedule is as tough as everyone says it is, aka top 5 worst schedule out there for running backs, if it's really that bad, they need Montgomery in between the tackles. It's going to be a bruise fest. And there is nobody I would rather have with the ball needing 1 yard on the goal line than David Montgomery. And I think you agree. That's the top 20. Let's take a pause here and just look at that last 10, 11 through 20. Every single one of those guys is pretty decent, but none of them are really going to win you the season. Although I will say, Kamara could easily finish in the top 10. Janty, he could prove me wrong and finish in the top 10. In order to do that, there would have to be some serious injuries like A-Chain, Cook would have to sit out the entire season, Chase. Those kinds of guys would have to fall out for Janty to crack the top 10. And if he's not a top 10 guy, I'm not touching him until the third round. There's some question marks in 11 through 20. There are every year. It's not perfect. Now, one of the things that came out in the news tonight was Stevenson in New England could potentially have some sort of injury from the preseason game. Now, what would that do? That would elevate everyone's Travion Henderson is going to be the next guy kind of attitude. Travion Henderson, look, first touch in the NFL, he goes for 100 yards. That was awesome. Let me tell you something about that play. If you are taking your top pick running back and you're putting him on a kick return, which is one of the most dangerous plays to run, I'm not really sure they care that much about him. I mean, let's face it, every time you see a top flight wide receiver field punts, the only thing you're hoping is that he doesn't get hurt because it's one of the most dangerous plays there are. Kick returns as well. Everyone is running full speed and the hits are brutal. And in preseason, all of the rookies, they're just trying to make a splash play. TreVeyon Henderson, you put him out there like that and risked his season on a kick return in the preseason. That means they're trying to manufacture plays for him because right now they don't have a whole lot of room for him as a starter. I think TreVeyon Henderson, great kid. I'm not sure he starts. And unless Stevenson is hurt for a long time, and with Gibson in there, he might only get 100 touches. And if they put him on kick returns, man, that kid's going to get hurt. Not because he's like, weak or something, but it's a dangerous place to put a guy. So when you look at the preseason, you see stuff like that. You see Igbuka, wide receiver. I know we're on a tangent here, but just go with me. Igbuka was returning punts. That's a bad idea. He was starting in the slot for Godwin, who, oh, by the way, we found out is probably going to be out until at least week 6, which, let me translate that for you. He's not going to play the rest of the season. Okay? The guy is too hurt. So you're putting that guy in punt returns in the preseason where some guy who's trying to make the team is looking for a splash play and looking to crush him. That is not smart. You're not going to use him in that position during the season. He's going to end up being your slot guy. So that worries me when coaches do that kind of stupid stuff. All right, I digress. And there's your top 20 running backs. If you agree, awesome. If you disagree, even better. Let me know in the comments. Let me know who you think the top 20 are. In the end, if it's exactly at 2 or Jacobs finishes exactly at 5, I don't really care. I know who my top guys are. I know where I want to draft talent, and I know what I'm willing to reach for. And that's what the point of this top 20 is. That's what the point of these lists are. You could disagree with me within 2 or 3 picks or what have you, but look at the overall potential opportunity. Look at the strength of the schedule. Look at what the history has shown. Look at what these guys do in the regular season. Do they win you games every single week? Or is it like Jonathan Taylor, who decides to wake up when the season is over? Okay, I don't need those kinds of guys. In order for me to get into the playoffs and win a Super Bowl, I have to win the regular season games. If it's best ball, okay, that's different. Maybe I'll try to stack him in one of those leagues or whatever, but most guys don't play best ball. And if you are in a league where you have to win week to week, you need guys who consistently put up points. Thanks for listening. And as always, I give a shout out to the men and women in uniform who protect the freedoms that we hold dear. Thank you for your service and sacrifice. And thanks for listening. If you like what you heard tonight, follow us on X, YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts so you can stay up to date on our latest content. And until then, remember, established dominance isn't just a catchphrase. It's a commitment. Are you ready?